Chloe Lukasiak. Me and Evan are so excited. He's joining us from LA, but you know he dressed to the nines for you because we
Looks
can't wait to
great.
talk to you about how you're graduating, the Dance Mom reunion, and kind of everything going on because you're a very busy girl.
I like to stay that way. I need to distract from the noise,
I love
make my
that.
own noise. But thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, we're so pumped, especially with the Dance Moms reunion coming up. And, speaking of the noise, Danny and I watched part of the reunion, which was amazing, by the way, the part that we did see. And it seemed like there was a lot of noise that you were trying to navigate, whether you wanted to do the reunion, whether you didn't want to do the reunion. We're so glad that you did do the reunion, but tell us about your mental process going into it.
I, I actually don't. I didn't think about whether I should talk about this, but I said no at first. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to do my own thing. Like, it's in the past. And then I was really considering it. And, I kept talking to the producers and everything. And I realized it's something I really wanted to do for myself. It had been such a big part of my childhood. And I felt like, even though I went back later on for later seasons, I can never remember if it was 7 or 8, but I was there at another point. And I still didn't feel like I had a proper goodbye, like a closure. Closing of the chapter. So I wanted to go back, show my gratitude for everything Dance Moms has given me, and kind of reminisce on the good times and the bad times and everything in between, and then move on.
Yeah, I love that because I feel it's also such an important thing too. I'm sure you're realizing as you grow up, like the say you now have in your own life.
Right.
And the fact that if you didn't go to it, you'd be like, oh, people could be talking about me
Yes.
without me there.
Yeah, exactly. Because of course they're going to talk about who's not present. I mean, the girls and I didn't really want to talk about who, like, because we all had our choices for participating or not participating. But I just wanted to be there because, well, another point I didn't realize until we were there is when we were on the show, when I was on the show as a young kid, we didn't really talk or have a voice. We were just there dancing. So it was really interesting and fascinating to go back and actually get to speak our mind and have opinions and voice them and just be heard, like completely unlike when we were children.
Yeah, I mean that's such a good point because for me it was so interesting to hear you unpack your feelings around this, manufactured rivalry between you and Maddie that was unfortunately cast on you by Abby, possibly the producers. You didn't want any part of it, so it was like very it was eye-opening to hear you sort of unfurl your emotions around it. What was it like for you to discuss that, kind of like for the first time on camera? And did you learn anything, or maybe like have any like self-revelations about the situation in the process of filming the reunion and talking through it?
Yeah, I think I did have a lot of revelations while I was
Yeah.
sitting there. I mean, I'd always been grateful for my experience on the show, exactly as it happened. Like, my sister looked at me one day, she was like, I wish I could take away that whole experience from you. She makes me teary-eyed because she's my best friend and she's the sweetest ever. But I actually disagreed and I was like, no, I am so grateful that I experienced the show exactly as I did because it's made me into who I am. And maybe if I didn't have, you know, if I wasn't kind of painted as the underdog and, was up against a lot of obstacles, I might not be like as hardworking as I am or etc. So I'm so, even though it was manufactured, and I really dive into this on the reunion, and even though I believe it was unnecessary because I think, natural competition blooms at dance competitions. That's kind of the whole point of them. It was nice to kind of always be on the edge of my seat and not always kind of just sitting back and taking it as I was pushing myself and making sure I was doing the best I could do.
Yeah, and how has that kind of impacted how you have been like navigating your life since then? Because you said it kind of made you feel like I'm always the hardworking underdog. Because even right now, you're in New York for a few days, you're going home to graduate, you're having all these plans, like you're like 5 steps ahead of everything. Do you feel a lot of that came from how you watched yourself back on the show?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think every part of who I am today is because of that experience. I mean, my whole life, but a big part of it is Dance Moms and what I went through. And one thing I'm really grateful for, having experienced what I experienced on the show, is I feel really empathetic towards other people. Like, I'm really empathetic towards other people. I'm always really aware of their emotions and how they're feeling and just checking in on people. And I don't know, just, kind of being very observant of the world around me. So that's one thing I feel I really took away from the show.
Yeah, that's so interesting. You were saying like you were painted as the underdog. And I know for a lot of viewers that really endeared you to the audience. I know for me, and like we don't like teams, everyone's a star and no one is replaceable. But I will say I was kind of team Chloe, of course,
Ah,
Christy back in the day. You know what I mean? Like
thank you.
I'm always rooting for the underdog, so I'm sure maybe that narrative has benefited you in some ways throughout your life. And like you said, it's made you more empathetic towards other people who may be sort of cast in that underdog position. But speaking of Christy,
Yeah.
when the reunion started and you were explaining that she wasn't going to show up because she was filming something else, my heart sank. I was like, no, 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 no. But then she does make an impact. She makes a little cameo in a FaceTime call, and she kind of shares a really hot take about the reunion that happened before the reunion with Maddie and Kenzie, and her thoughts about Melissa's involvement in it. Do you agree with your mom that Melissa was trying to put a fire blanket over any potential bombs?
I think a lot of people who participate in reality shows are pretty aware of their moves, and um, they're pretty strategic in how they act because of like the repercussions and everything. So I I unfortunately, like, I say unfortunately because that's just not maybe it's fortunate, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just not in my nature. I'm
Yeah.
just I've that's just not how I behave. But I think some people are a little bit more strategic than others.
And you guys said that the four of you who were invited to that little pre-reunion party had a really nice time. Were there like, was it kind of a thing where it's like, oh my God, have some chips, have some soda, don't talk about me tomorrow? Or was it kind of just like Dance Moms reunion was not discussed?
No, we didn't discuss it. And honestly, we always try to get together as much as we can. But that was the first time we'd all gotten together since we left the show. Like, there's always one person missing or another person doing this or something is amiss. So that is the first time we were genuinely all together. And I think for me, it was just a little surreal because they've been such a big part of my childhood. I truly consider them like my extended family. Yeah. We have a bond unlike any other people. Like, no one will understand what we went through on the show, especially that certain group of girls, because we approached it very differently. It's not like we watched the show and came on with a game plan. We that was genuinely our life, and then like cameras came into it, not like we approached it. So I think we had a little bit more of a different perspective than other people. So I was just really appreciative to be there with all of them and to actually spend time with one another. I wish we could do it more, and we haven't done it since, but yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting, you saying that you guys went into it without a game plan. And I'm thinking about Jojo Siwa's recent interview with the Call Her Daddy podcast. And she said because she was able to watch the show and be a fan, she kind of went into her experience with a game plan. And she describes this moment where she tells her mom, it's not a bad thing that I'm always on the bottom of the pyramid. It's actually a great thing because it gives me more screen time. And then it makes the entire episode about me. So she kind of had this like very interesting vantage point that I don't think the original group of girls had. Do you think that if you kind of were able to experience it from afar and then join it, it would have been easier to deal with the criticisms from Abby or, not being at the top of the pyramid?
Oh, absolutely. I kind of envy the people who watched it, created a game plan, and then went on knowing exactly what they wanted to do. Because like I said, cameras came to us, and then it was like all of a sudden the drama needed to be heightened. And then I was like, but I'm just dancing like I've done for the past 9 or I guess 7 years with you. And then it was like a slow progression of the negativity I felt that was coming towards me. And so it all felt like, I was also young and a little bit naive. And so I was just like I was always playing catch up, I felt like in my head. I was like, oh, okay, you're really mad at me. I don't really know why. And so I think if I had come at it from a different angle and, like you said, been, far away from it and then approaching it, I think I definitely would have put some, just some mental walls up. But I didn't put any. I was completely vulnerable at all times because, like I said, I was playing catch up. I wasn't aware of what was going on day to day.
Yeah, I also feel like at that age and at that time where you're a young kid, so it's not like you really know how to do emotional manipulation or anything.
Right,
and also
right.
back then it's not like there was a ton of reality TV to watch. So it's not like you could be taking notes. All you knew how to do was be yourself.
Exactly.
And I kind of wonder, because since you did have like, and you are grateful for that experience, is there ever a part of you that's kind of like, oh, I would like to like reapproach or re-enter reality TV? Really?
Well, reapproach reality TV? I don't know.
I was like, all right, Andy, you just at the clubhouse. What's happening? Okay.
I thought you were going to say, I always say I wish I had experienced it as an adult, because I feel like I would have had a completely different perspective, even as a teenager. Like, if it had been Dance Mom's teen years or something and we were all like 16, 17, 18, I feel like I just would have been a different human, because I would have been like, I don't really care what you have to say about me. But at like a 9, I have no idea who I am. So if someone else is telling me this is who you are, you're second, then I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I must be second. Yeah. But if I'm 17, then I have my own identity, you know? And so I could have just let things go in one ear and out the other, and I could have just still pushed. But I think I was absorbing everything rather than just being like, meh, no thanks. But going back into reality TV, I mean, honestly, sometimes like, I'm like, I feel like I could kill it, but I don't know.
Yeah, you could. I feel you could.
Well,
I don't know.
I feel like you could too, because, you know, you mentioned in the reunion that you've done a lot of work to sort of cope with the past trauma from doing Dance Moms as a child. Like, you don't let Abby's words linger anymore. Like, she doesn't define you. Like, now that you're in this more powerful space, what kind of show would you be interested in doing? Would it be something with Christy? Would it be something on your own? Would it be part of like another ensemble cast? Like, what's kind of going through your mind?
I actually have no idea. That's a really interesting question. I've never really put like a lot of thought into it. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm open. Call me, I guess.
Okay,
Producers.
The lines are open. I love that. And because we could talk to you for hours, we don't have that much time with you left. But we just want to know, besides, it could be the Dance Moms reunion, it could be anything else. What are you most excited about for your year this year? Like, what are you looking forward to that you're like, this is making Chloe very happy?
Oh my gosh, literally everything going on. I
Love
feel like
that.
I'm in an era of just like, it feels like a completely new chapter. I was telling you before this, I recently just moved out of my apartment in LA. I graduated. I'm like, it's like that door's closed and a new door's opening, and I've never felt it so profoundly. And I'm like, this is the new Chloe era, slightly unhinged, very excited, very adventurous. So I'm like ready for anything. I told you I was moving. I'm moving to a new city soon. We'll see where.
Stay tuned.
And then I have my dance competition, which I co-founded. It's called Elevate Dance Competition, and it's been going amazing in the first year. We have an incredible second year planned, so that's been really fun. And I'm actually drafting my first fiction novel.
Oh my gosh.
I went to school for fiction writing, or creative writing,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
that's something it feels like it's in the background because there's a lot of other noise
There's a
going
lot of
on right
stuff.
now, but it's something I'm really excited
Is it
about.
based in the dance realm or completely different?
No, completely different.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can't.
Oh my
wait to
God,
read
that's
that.
so exciting. Wait, you have so much going on, but I do love that one of the adjectives you use to describe this era of your life is unhinged.
It is. I need a t-shirt. I keep telling everyone, I'm like, this is my unhinged era.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, I'll be wearing that.
good. Okay, maybe I
Yes.
need to make it.
Yes.
Taking notes.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for stopping by,
Thank
Chloe.
you both.